It slipped across the fractured plateau in low whispering currents, dragging dust and splintered stone along its path as if the mountain itself were trying to settle after something it didn't understand. The sky above remained clear, endless blue, untouched, indifferent. For a moment, everything looked still, too still. Zuko didn't move. His stance remained firm, shoulders squared, jaw set with stubborn resolve as his eyes locked forward. He refused to step back, refused to show hesitation, Fire Lord or not. He had made a decision the moment he climbed this mountain, and he would see it through. But behind him, the line wavered, not visibly at first. No one broke formation. No one lowered their weapons, but their grips tightened just a little too much. Breathing grew uneven. One soldier shifted his footing, boot scraping softly against cracked stone, far louder than it should have been in the suffocating quiet. Another swallowed hard. They couldn't feel it, not fully, not consciously, but something in their bodies knew. The air was wrong, the silence was wrong, and the boy standing before them was wrong. Naruto Uzumaki stood exactly where he had been, unmoving, unrushed. His posture was relaxed, almost careless, as if the fractured ground beneath him and the armed soldiers surrounding him were nothing more than background noise. No visible aura, no overwhelming surge, no crushing weight pressing down on them. And yet, no one wanted to move first. Even Nyla's massive frame remained low, muscles coiled but hesitant. Her tongue flicked faster now, tasting something in the air she didn't understand, but instinctively feared. Zuko took a step forward, deliberate, measured. "You're outnumbered," he said, voice steady, too steady, a statement, a reminder, maybe even a reassurance for his men more than himself. Behind him, no one echoed the confidence, because the quiet stretched on, and somewhere deep in that silence, it felt like they were waiting, not for a signal, not for an attack, but for permission from him. Naruto didn't answer right away. For a moment, the silence held, thin, fragile, stretched to its limit. Then, he laughed. It wasn't loud, it wasn't explosive, it was quiet, almost amused, a low, breathy chuckle that slipped past his lips, like he had just heard something genuinely entertaining. Zuko's expression tightened. Behind him, the soldiers stiffened further, unease sharpening into something closer to dread. "Outnumbered," Naruto repeated, tilting his head slightly, blue eyes narrowing just a fraction, as if he were trying to understand the logic behind the statement. The faintest smirk touched his lips. "You really walked all the way up this mountain," he continued softly, "looked at everything in front of you." His gaze flicked lazily over the soldiers, over their weapons, their formation, their tension, and still came to that conclusion. The smirk faded, not slowly, instantly, and something in the air shifted. Naruto didn't move his feet, didn't raise his voice, didn't form a single hand sign, but the world answered him anyway. 30 figures appeared, not in a flash, not with noise, not with spectacle. They were simply there, standing in perfect stillness around him. 30 identical Narutos, each positioned with deliberate spacing, each wearing the same calm expression, the same relaxed posture, the same quiet, unreadable eyes. No smoke, no warning, no one moment. There was one. The next, there were 31. The soldiers flinched. Several took half steps back before they could stop themselves. One nearly dropped his weapon, catching it at the last second with trembling hands. Their formation didn't break, but it bent, subtly, unevenly. Zuko's breath hitched just once, because he hadn't seen it. Not the movement, not the technique, not anything. Naruto's gaze returned to him, sharper now, focused, serious in a way that stripped away every trace of humor from the moment before. "Let me ask you something," he said calmly. His voice carried easily across the plateau, cutting through the wind, through the silence, through the rising tension. "Do you want these clones to actually try and kill you?" The words landed heavy, not shouted, not threatened, just stated. Naruto's eyes didn't leave Zuko's. "Or would you like to reconsider?" he continued, tone lowering slightly, "and walk back down that mountain?" Silence answered him. Not defiance, not courage, just silence. Behind Zuko, the soldiers shifted again, this time more noticeably. Their confidence had cracked, not shattered, but enough to let something colder seep through. Because now they understood. They weren't outnumbering him. They were surrounded. Nyla let out a low, uneasy sound, her massive body lowering instinctively as her tongue flicked faster, more erratic. Her instinct screamed at her. Danger, overwhelming and absolute. Naruto's eyes flicked towards her. For the first time since the clones appeared, he moved. It wasn't fast. It wasn't dramatic. He simply stepped forward, and Nyla reacted like prey. The massive Shirshu recoiled slightly, claws scraping against the stone as a low whine escaped her throat. Her body tensed, but she didn't lunge, didn't strike. She hesitated. Naruto's gaze hardened. "A dog that bites the hand that feeds it," he said quietly. His hand lifted. No rush, no effort. "Should always be put down." The words hadn't even fully settled, and Zuko moved. "Stand down." The command came sharp, immediate, final. Naruto's hand stopped mid-motion, not because he hesitated, but because Zuko had already made his decision. For a long second, the Fire Lord stood there, chest rising and falling slowly, eyes locked onto Naruto, not with fear, but with something heavier, understanding. His gaze flicked once, just once, to the clones surrounding them. None of them had moved, not a step, not a breath, and yet it felt like they had already won. "We're leaving," Zuko said, voice tight but controlled. A soldier hesitated. "But that's an order." No one argued after that. Formation broke, not into chaos, but into a controlled retreat. Slow steps backward, careful, measured. No one turning their backs fully. No one daring to make sudden movements. Zuko lingered a second longer. His eyes met Naruto's one last time, then he turned and followed his men down the mountain. Naruto stood there, unmoving, as they left. The clones didn't disappear. Not yet. Because the message wasn't finished until they were gone. And only when the last trace of red armor vanished beyond the mountain's edge did the wind finally move again. Zuko's retreat had already begun. Boots scraped against stone in controlled measured steps as the Fire Nation soldiers pulled back, tension clinging to every moment. No one relaxed even as distance grew. The pressure behind them didn't fade. It followed, silent and watchful. Nyla didn't retreat. The Shirshu's body remained low, muscles twitching, tongue flicking rapidly as instinct warred with confusion. Her blind gaze stayed fixed on Naruto, unease turning into something sharper, something reactive. Naruto noticed. Of course he did. His eyes shifted toward her, calm and final. "You still chose wrong," he said quietly. There was no build-up, No warning, no movement that anyone could track. One moment Nyla tensed, the next she dropped. A precise, single strike, clean, instant, final. Her massive body hit the fractured stone with a heavy thud, dust kicking up around her as the life left her just as quickly as it had been taken. No struggle, no cry, just silence. Zuko's jaw clenched so tightly it almost cracked, but he didn't turn, didn't speak, didn't stop walking because he understood. And that understanding was heavier than any anger he could have acted on. Move, he ordered quietly. His men didn't hesitate, they followed. And this time, none of them looked back. The mountain grew quiet again. The wind returned softer now, slipping through the broken stone as if nothing had happened. The tension bled out of the air, slowly leaving behind only the aftermath. Naruto stood still for a moment longer, watching, waiting, ensuring. Then, 30 clones vanished at once. No smoke, no sound, just absence. The plateau emptied in an instant, leaving only Naruto standing alone once more. He exhaled a long, quiet sigh. He muttered underneath his breath, running a hand through his hair. That idiot. Now he knows where we live. With that, he turned and walked back toward the temple. The doors cracked open softly as he stepped inside. Warmth greeted him instantly. The faint scent of food, the quiet stillness of the halls. It all felt almost surreal compared to what had just happened outside. Azula and June were already there, waiting, both of them staring at him. Azula's golden eyes were wide, genuinely wide, something that almost never happened. Her composure was gone, replaced with something close to disbelief. You, she started, her voice quieter than usual. You just sent him away. Naruto paused. Yeah. She took a step forward, her expression tightening as she tried to process it. You didn't even fight him. You didn't even... She cut herself off, shaking her head slightly. You barely did anything. Naruto shrugged lightly. Didn't need to. Silence followed. Then June spoke. Nyla. Her voice was soft, strained. Naruto glanced at her. She looked down, hands tightening slightly at her sides. There was no anger there, just sadness, loss, the kind that sat heavy in the chest and didn't move easily. Naruto watched her for a second. Then he stepped forward, pulled her into a hug. It wasn't hesitant. It wasn't awkward. It was firm, grounding. June stiffened slightly at first, then relaxed into it, her grip tightening faintly against his shirt. Naruto's voice was low when he spoke, calm and certain. A dog that bites the hand that feeds it, he said quietly, should be put down. June didn't respond, but she didn't pull away either. And across from them, Azula watched, silent, thoughtful, because for the first time, she wasn't just seeing Naruto as powerful. She was starting to understand what that power meant.